Morning, everyone. Today we've got a cool show. We're going to be talking about
safety of cruising. And look where we are, in beautiful Valletta, Malta, on the amazing MSC Grandiosa.
Stay tuned, and we're going to tell you all about it. Hi, everyone. I'm Rick.
And I'm Andrea.
And today we're going to be talking about the safety on board cruise ships after COVID.
Absolutely.
So a lot of you might be wondering, can cruising actually restart after this pandemic? Like, is it actually safe?
I think the answer is absolutely. Look at this. We are on a cruise ship now, and I've never felt so safe.
That's right. So today we're going to go over everything that's happening on board this particular cruise ship, the MSC Grandiosa. It's not an opinion. It's not a review of the ship. This is just what we are experiencing on board, and
in terms of safety.
Yeah, in terms of safety. So let's start from the beginning. Well, we started doing research, like a lot of they are.
A lot of research on how is it possible to cruise during pandemic time, and is it safe to cruise in pandemic time? And we discovered yes, it's possible. There's very few ships actually that are sailing at the moment, and one of them is the MSC Grandiosa here in the Mediterranean. Now, it's the itinerary is very limited. It stays in the Med and stays mostly in Italy and Malta, which is where we are right now. And there's some limitation of what you can do and what you cannot do, and we're going to go through one by one of these limitations for you.
The first thing that we heard about was the boarding procedures. Exactly. We knew that that we would have to get a COVID test or an anti-COVID test. Now, a lot of you might be thinking that you need the vaccine. Well, that's going to depend where you live in the world. We live in Europe, and things are a little slower. So, to get on board this particular cruise ship, we needed to do a COVID test. We did it 2 days before.
Yeah, at least 4 days prior cruising. That's the requirement.
That's the requirement. 4 days for locals, for us.
Yeah, for Italian.
2 days it was for other Europeans.
For other European passengers.
Exactly. And then once at the cruise terminal.
At embarkation.
And they didn't let us on the ship until we had that negative test.
Yeah, a second test at port, and has to be negative. So basically, what happens? You get at the port, you drop off your bags, you go to this first step, and they give you a COVID test, and then you go to a lounge, wait 20 minutes for the test results, and then you can proceed on board. So actually, it's very well organized, I would say.
Absolutely, and in fact, the second test, the one that we did at the port, that one was a snap. I mean, they were totally, there was no issue with it whatsoever, and it didn't even feel like there was a delay.
No, absolutely. The procedure is actually very well laid out. So you do your COVID test, then you move forward towards the check-in process, and while you're doing your check-in with the lady that is assigned to the cabin and all this stuff, then you wait for the results, and then you stay at the lounge about 10-15 minutes, and the results are ready.
Exactly. So no matter what, before you even step foot on the ship,
you have 2 tests.
You've been tested twice.
Another very important thing, the ship runs a very, very, very low capacity. So this is a 6,000 passenger ship, and we are only 1,400 on this.
That's right. So it gives us a lot of opportunity for social distancing. And for restaurants at a smaller capacity.
Yeah.
Although I think this particular ship could probably operate at 3,000 passengers with the same distancing requirements.
But at the moment, I think they're experimenting, so the passenger feels really spread out.
That's right.
Even at the pool, there's the chair are in a set position. You cannot move them, and you can rotate it towards the sun, but you cannot move it from the position that the chair are put on. So there's a lot of social distancing on board because the capacity of the ship is very low. Mask is mandatory in every common area of the room. You cannot take your mask off when you are in your cabin, when you're having food or drinks, and when you're sunbathing at the pool. But every other time you have to wear a mask.
Wait, you can wear you can take it off when you're
take it off
sunbathing,
when
right?
you're drinking, you're eating, or you're sunbathing.
Right. Sometimes I don't pay attention. And it doesn't feel
No.
it doesn't feel any worse. And you know, for us, it's not that big of a deal.
Another requirement that you have to have on board is this contact tracing bracelet. So basically, you wear this bracelet all the time. It acts as a key for your room or as a key card for your drinks and stuff, but also as a feature that tracks all the passengers. So basically, if you get in contact with someone that became positive during a cruise, they know exactly when and where, and you get tested. So
Yeah, and they know all of the people that you've been
you're in
around.
contact.
Guys, if you think that this is a cool thing, give us
a thumb
give us a thumbs up. And if you don't, let us know in the comments below.
Another thing that is actually a little on the annoying side is every 2 hours there's an announcement, like the one we can hear now, about the safety and what you can do and what you cannot do, and all the above. So it's
That's
a little repetitive.
But that's a review of the ship.
Yes, exactly. So next, restaurants.
Yes, let's take you guys up to the restaurant. So first place we go is in the elevator.
4 people maximum in elevator, and there's 4 dots in this giant elevator where you should sit. And they strongly encourage you to take the stairs to avoid conflict.
And to avoid a bigger belly.
Well, that's another topic.
Definitely. So yeah, you go up to the restaurant, and first thing you need to do is wash your hands.
Wash your hands, but it's quite normal for the buffet. Usually you have to wash your hands. But one thing that you have to do twice a day, when you go to the buffet, they check your body with temperature. So they scan your cruise card, and then they check your temperature to see that it's normal.
And they record it.
They record it.
They record it. So that way they can see if you're getting warmer or getting colder.
So twice a day, you get your temperature check.
Exactly. I'm thinking hot or not.
So that's another very good, clever way to track the healthy of the passenger.
Exactly. Now, in the buffet specifically, you don't get to take your own food anymore. No. There's these plastic barriers or plexiglass barriers in front of the food, which actually I don't mind because it stops me from like loading too much stuff on my plate. You know, but hey, if I want a second one, it's not a problem.
Let's go back and ask.
Exactly.
There's a very specific way to get into the buffet and out to the buffet. So it's very well laid out. You cannot peruse around. You have to go in one way and get out the other way.
Exactly, and that's to limit people crossing each other. That's the idea.
And all the waiter, they're wearing a mask and a shield.
Exactly. And you know, so far it feels very safe to be on board the ship. A lot safer than going to the grocery store.
Absolutely.
Where you have no control. You have no idea who's been tested. You have no idea who's sick, not sick, has somebody at home. Here, you know, everybody is being tested. Exactly.
Another thing they do, speaking about testing, they offer you an extra test you can take. Actually, it's today if you want to do it. So you know that you're safe to go back home.
Right.
But it's not mandatory.
Right. Some countries require a negative COVID test to go back home. And so for $50, you can get the government-required test on board, and it'll be ready for them, for these passengers when they disembark.
At the main dining room, again, every waiter is wearing a shield. You can only enter one way, leave a different way. And the tables are pretty spread out, I would say. Very spread out. There's a lot of empty tables. Yeah, there are definitely lots of empty tables. However, the main dining room does feel like it's among the most compact. It's not not that I'm saying it's unsafe or feels unsafe, but there and on the sun deck were the two areas that felt a little packed, but closer together. Yeah.
But so far, there's been no issues.
Another thing, you cannot share a table anymore. You can only share a table with your cabin mate. So if you're in the same cabin, you can be in the same table. But if you're not in the same cabin or in the same family, you cannot share a table anymore, which is not a bad thing, I would say.
No, it's just for now.
Specialty restaurants, there's only one open.
That's right. And that, I think, is just because of the limited amount of passengers who are on board.
The theater, Again, it's kind of weird because there's one seat and the other one has to be empty, one seat and the other
Right.
one has to be empty. And even if you're in the same cabin, theoretically, you have to sit.
Yeah, I
one
think
seat
I think they
apart.
could have done. I think they could have thought that out better,
Yeah.
because everybody has to be distanced, and distancing between family members is really weird. And we feel totally safe on board. In fact, according to the Cruise Line Industry Association (CLIA), there have been nearly 400,000 passengers on board cruise ships since the beginning of the pandemic, or since the beginning of the Great Pause. And out of all of those, there's only been about 50 recorded cases
On board, yeah.
on board. So obviously, these protocols are working, and
Yes.
I really hope that the folks in the United States, the CDC, and whoever else, that they really embrace this and learn and accept that even without vaccinations, cruising can happen safely.
Absolutely. So the gym is open. Again, low capacity, only a few people can be in the gym at the same time, but it's open.
Which makes it look like it's always full.
Exactly. And the sun deck is open. As I said, you cannot move your chair. You have to stay in the spot that the chairs are placed, but it's open.
You can turn them.
You can
to,
turn around, but you cannot move them to get together with other people. You have to stay kind of apart.
But the nice thing about being on the sun deck is that if you want, you can remove your mask, and nobody has any
You have to
issue
put
with
it
that.
back if you order a drink. So if the waiter comes to you for a drink, you have to put your mask back, order a drink, and then you can remove
For a
it.
second, and
For a
that's not a
second,
problem. Now, on this particular cruise, so it was April 14th yesterday,
Mhm.
and we were in the middle of the Mediterranean, and the sun was out, and we got like 5 hours of sun yesterday. It was incredible how hot it was, and it felt a little bit like freedom
Yeah.
again.
Felt like we were back to normal for a few hours. It was actually
Right, because for those of you who don't know, the lockdown restrictions that Italians have been under since October, it's been really strict, and I mean to the point where we're able to go outside, but restaurants. I think we were at restaurants maybe once or twice. So here it feels like a party, like a cruise ship ought to be.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Another thing, speaking of party, most of the party are being cancelled or on the ship. Obviously, to keep
They're very subdued.
to keep the gathering as little as possible. There's still dance lesson, but again, you have to pick a spot and dance in that little
On your spot, on your dot.
On your dot.
Dance on your dot.
Dance on your dot. That's a good one.
Guys, if you like Dance on Your Dot and want more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below.
Absolutely.
That way you'll never miss one of our videos.
So you have to dance on the dot,
Yes.
like you be in the elevator on your dot, or
That's right.
in line on your dot.
That's right.
And yeah, that's about it for parties. Lastly, we go to the saddest part of the whole thing:
Yes.
excursions.
Yes. So in theory, the rule about excursions, and I know a lot of you have been wondering about excursions. In theory, excursions, if you go on an excursion, you have to go with the cruise line's set excursion. Like you cannot go out on your
Malta
own.
on your own.
You have to do the excursion that's on your own. Now, in the case of Malta, where we are here, they have some tours that take you in an open air bus. However, the Italian government has said if anyone is going to another EU country, that we have to do a 5-day quarantine upon our return.
From the day of disembarkation.
From the day that we disembark. So this puts us at a little bit of a conundrum because it's a surprise. So we have decided not to do it. And also, interestingly, there were two other ports, Naples and Palermo, that we were supposed to do excursions in, but because they are in the strictest lockdown
area of Italy,
restrictions,
the local authority decided not to allow excursion and not allow passenger to get off the ship. So basically, passenger can disembark the ship in Palermo or embark the ship in Palermo,
Right.
but we cannot go on an excursion. So practically, we did not have any excursion,
Right.
and any opportunity to get off the ship.
Nope. So for us, actually, this is going to be a very interesting cruise. Not only is it the safest cruise we've ever done, it's also the longest that we've ever been without touching ground.
Yeah.
But that's perfectly fine because there are so many things to do on board this ship that for us, it's actually not a problem. We welcome it. We are having a great time, and we feel safe. That is the
Absolutely.
most important thing. We have to keep saying, we feel safe. And I know a lot of you have been asking about that.
And they're concerned about being safe on a cruise ship, and yes, it's absolutely safe. With this regulation and protocol that they have in place, I think cruising is possible.
Definitely. And of course, once the vaccines are in, then it'll make it a lot easier. I mean, there are some countries that, their vaccine rates are way higher than what we've got here in Europe. So they might turn into making it a requirement. Either way, I'm happy to comply. I'm happy to continue cruising. Cruising is definitely our favorite way of seeing the world. And now I think things are going to get a little better. This is a glimmer of hope.
Absolutely. So guys, we hope you enjoyed this little video about the safety of cruising. If you have any question, please leave a comment below and we'll try to answer the question as best as we can. Meanwhile, we wish you a great day.
Absolutely. Oh, and one more thing, folks. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, go ahead and do it now, because coming up, we've got our review of the MSC Grandiosa. So for all of you who want to come and sail the Mediterranean before the big American ships get out here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified as soon as it comes out. Guys, we love you.
Bye, guys.
Take care and stay safe.